All right, what is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to the KC Sports Report. Michael Darcy, your host here as always. And today I'm going to break down the Kansas City Chiefs' loss to the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football. So, the Chiefs just dropped a heartbreaking game to the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football. In Week 2 of the NFL season, the Chiefs are now 1-1 on the season, and the Baltimore Ravens also moved to 1-1, but first and foremost, I'd like to say that this game was highly entertaining, regardless of who the winner was. And, I'm a Chiefs fan, so obviously I did not like the outcome, but that game was awesome. I was glued to the TV for all of it, and I thought that even though the Chiefs weren't able to pull away with this one, it was still an entertaining game. But, now the happy Chiefs fan has left my body, and here comes the angry one. The Chiefs had no business losing this game, but they also had no business winning this game. It's kind of a double-edged coin, or double-edged sword, I guess you could say. The Chiefs led this game at one point, 35-24, and they were going into the fourth quarter. I was like, all right, the Chiefs are just going to coast, and no problem. But Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens deserved to win this game. They fought for 4 quarters, unlike the Chiefs. The Chiefs played, on offense at least, they played like 3 good quarters. But even then, this offense didn't just seem like they were the Chiefs' offense of old. I felt like they could have been a lot crisper. Mahomes did throw his first interception in the month of September in his career, which, by the way, this is also his first loss in the month of September. But, the offense did look all right. I think they could have been better, but let's get to the main topic of conversation for most Chiefs fans, because this is a big one. The Chiefs' defense was horrid tonight. It was probably the worst defensive performance I have seen from this team in quite some time. They couldn't stop the run, and I kept tweeting this on Twitter, which follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. That's at KC Sports Report. I kept tweeting this out. They could not pick up Lamar Jackson's RPO. They kept going after the running back, and he would just, on the option reads, he'd just take it himself. They could not learn that, hey, maybe the guy that literally won the MVP because he is the reincarnation of Mike Vick running the ball, maybe he's going to take it himself. And he did the majority of the night, and the Chiefs did not have any answer as to stop him. And he had a fantastic game. This was the first game of the Mahomes versus Jackson series that Lamar Jackson actually showed up to play. I think that this is probably the best game of his career. You could see in the numbers. He was dynamic on the ground, and he also scored a couple rushing touchdowns. So they literally had no answer for what Lamar Jackson was doing. And the Chiefs' defense has no excuse. The defense was going up against a Ravens team that didn't have left tackle Ronnie Stanley, and a lot of the other pieces on that offensive line in the secondary were gone. The Chiefs had to go up against a Ravens team that was racked with injuries. They've been the pun line of so many jokes because all their running backs are down. They beat us with Latavius Murray and I can't even remember. Devontae Freeman was the other one? I don't even remember. But the fact remains, they torched us on the ground. They had over 200 yards rushing. And I don't care what team you face. That's not going to cut it. The Chiefs have got to figure out a way to stop the run. Because tonight, it was very clear that they could not do that. And, honestly, I think that is my biggest concern. They couldn't stop the run. Even though the Ravens are the best rushing team, I guess you could argue if they're the best, but they're a very good rushing team. Their offense is constructed around Lamar Jackson, who likes to run the ball. And, I said this earlier. I was like, if they just let Lamar Jackson throw the ball the entire night, they probably would have won the game. But unfortunately, like many people could easily point out, the Chiefs couldn't stop him on the ground. Why would you throw the ball when you're getting like 5 to 6 yards on every carry? And specifically when Lamar Jackson doesn't even have to hand the ball off. He'll just take it himself. There was plenty of times tonight where he got open space and he just torched every single dude in the area. And I think that's a big problem. But also, the pass rush was very, very bad tonight. Frank Clark was coming back, and he did nothing. I didn't expect him to do anything, but Chris Jones didn't do anything either. And, I don't think it's fair to blame this all on Chris Jones for not being productive when this front four isn't able to produce any pressure. Frank Clark and Chris Jones and I guess Mike Dana tonight, they didn't do anything. And this is against a backup offensive line. You had Alejandro Villanueva starting at left tackle, and many people say that he's got the knees of my 87-year-old grandma. I mean, that's not good. And the fact that you were able to not force any pressure remotely, that's a big concern. And that almost leads me to believe that this Chiefs team in the front office, they didn't do enough to address the defense in the offseason. I mean, hell, they didn't extend Tyrann Mathieu, who coming off of the COVID list today had 2 interceptions. He returned one of them for a pick 6. But without Tyrann Mathieu, this game isn't remotely close. I think that game kind of just showed everybody that, hey, we got to pay Tyrann Mathieu, because without him in this game, you lose quite handily. I mean, he had 2 picks, which was great to see, but that's really the only bright spot of this defense. I guess Dan Sorensen had a sack, but that just kind of shows you that the only way this Chiefs defense can force any pressure whatsoever is by secondary blitzes. And that's not good enough, because you're going to need guys that can drop back into coverage. I mean, today, Dan Sorensen had a sack, but there was also a lot of instances in which Dan Sorensen got beat, or L'Jarius Sneed got toasted. There was a completely terrible play where Travarius Ward blew a coverage and it resulted in a touchdown. Like, there were a lot of really questionable defensive decisions tonight, and that should be blamed on defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, and that's a problem. I've been a big Steve Spagnuolo advocate over the past couple years, but, the defense wasn't any good last week. They were able to pull out a win, and today you just barely lose, and the main reason you lose is because you cannot stop the run or force any pressure or even stop Lamar Jackson when he was doing the same thing over and over and over again. I mean, clearly they just were not prepared enough for what Lamar Jackson was going to do. But let's get to the big play in the game that really ended it for the Chiefs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire with under a minute. I guess they were under the 2-minute warning. I think it was like a minute 20 on the clock. He fumbled the ball. The Ravens recovered it. And at that point, the Chiefs still had 3 timeouts. They had a chance to stop the Ravens. But the Ravens, like I thought that they would, they got stopped on the first 3 downs. They went for it on 4th down. I thought that they should have. And like everyone should have known, Lamar Jackson kept the ball. That's the thing. It's like they did what they wanted to do. It's kind of like when the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes and they're driving. The Chiefs are going to score. Patrick Mahomes is going to do his thing, and you can't stop it. The Chiefs knew what the Baltimore Ravens were going to do, and they just couldn't stop it. And a lot of people are going to blame Clyde Edwards-Helaire for this loss, and you could. I mean, if he doesn't fumble that ball, you kick a field goal and you win this game. So I understand why you should be mad at Clyde. But at the same time, I don't think that the Chiefs played particularly well in this game. I really don't think they deserved to win. Lamar Jackson really played his heart out, and it showed. He made good throw after good throw, a lot of jump cuts. He also took a lot of our defensive players' souls. I mean, he was out there juking and cutting back each way, and he really looked good tonight. And I'm a big Chiefs fan. The biggest Chiefs fan I know, and it's hard for me to admit that. But Lamar Jackson just outplayed this Chiefs defense tonight. And now the Mahomes-Jackson rivalry is 3-1 in Mahomes' favor. Lamar finally got that monkey off his back and beat Mahomes. But yeah, this game could have went a lot better. And I'm not really stressing because it's week 2. It's week 2 of the NFL season. You went on the road in a tough environment, and you lost to an MVP winner and a team that is probably going to be top 5 in the AFC this year. Now, I understand why a lot of people are mad. I mean, you probably should have won this game. You were up by 11 at the time. You were up 35-24. You should have won this game. But, I think that kind of like last year when the Chiefs lost to the Vegas Raiders, they needed that loss to kind of adjust, and I think that they almost needed this loss because the defense has got to get better. And, I think that over time it will, but it's a problem. It is a big problem. I think that Nick Bolton did all right tonight. I think he looked pretty good considering the fact that he's a rookie, but he should not have to have the impact in which he needs to have to win games because this Chiefs defense isn't good enough. I think that there were a lot of moments tonight that they just got outclassed, and that's not a good thing. So, Chiefs Kingdom, how do you guys feel about this loss? I get it. I get why people are upset. And, I'm not happy about it, obviously, but I just can't help but feel that it was almost inevitable due to the fact that this defense wasn't helping them whatsoever. I mean, this was one of the worst games defensively that I've seen in years. I mean, heck, I got a text from one of my old friends that, hey, maybe they should bring back Bob Sutton. It was obviously a joke, but that was a Bob Sutton defensive performance. They couldn't change up anything. They didn't make any adjustments, and that's not a good thing. And you can blame Clyde all you want for fumbling that ball, but at the end of the day, the defense is the far bigger problem than Clyde fumbling that ball. Whether or not the Chiefs won this game, I'd still have the same concerns. I mean, I guess losing just kind of made it a little bit different in the fact that I'm being more critical, but I would still have these opinions if we won this game because the Chiefs did not play a good game tonight, offensively or defensively. There were a couple times tonight where Mahomes looked good, but he threw that pick where he should have just held the ball, and there was a couple, I guess Creed Humphrey fumbled a snap or botched a snap, and it went down to the 2-yard line. Mahomes fell on it, so there were some instances in this game that I just think this offense wasn't clicking on all cylinders like they usually do, and I'm not concerned. I think they're going to get better, but it just wasn't good enough tonight, and I think that, they're going to have to improve going forward, but I'm not stressing. It is too early on in the season, and, this Chiefs team over the course of the Mahomes era has been godly at adhering to adversity. They're very good at it. So I'm not concerned whatsoever. But, going over the stat line from this game for the Chiefs, Mahomes was 24 of 31 for 343 passing yards. He averaged 11.1 yards a throw, throwing 3 touchdowns to 1 interception. That is the first interception of the year. Clyde had 13 rushing attempts for 46 yards. That's not good at all. That's actually really, really bad. The Ravens defense also did a fantastic job of minimizing Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill really didn't have an impact on this game, but Travis Kelce did his thing. He had 7 receptions for 109 yards and 1 touchdown. That touchdown, I guess he caught that crossbody pass from Mahomes and ran it 46 yards to the house. One of the best touchdowns he's ever had personally. And I think that that was definitely a play that got me excited about this Chiefs offense. It just looked like at that point they were unstoppable. And with that, actually, Travis Kelce reached 8,000 yards, and he becomes the youngest tight end in NFL history to do that. So congrats to Travis Kelce. That is a big accomplishment. But again, it just really wasn't good enough tonight. And I think that, I said this also over Twitter. I wasn't really happy with how many snaps Michael Burton got. I think he got too many. I think that, with all the pieces that you have on this offense, Michael Burton should be seeing the least amount of playing time. I want to see Jerick McKinnon. Why was he not in the game? I guess he was in the game, and he looked good when he was in the game, but in true Andy Reid fashion, he took him out right after he did something good. So I think that's also a complaint of mine. But, it's just Mecole Hardman had a decent day. He had 5 catches for 55. Demarcus Robinson actually had a pretty good game. He caught that touchdown pass by Patrick Mahomes. I think it was to make it 14-7. A great throw by Mahomes to stay in the pocket, and an even better catch by Demarcus Robinson. So that was good to see. Byron Pringle caught a little dump-off pass and took that to the house for a touchdown. So, the Chiefs' offense, they did do all right in terms of scoring. But, if you've seen this Chiefs' offense at peak performance before, you could kind of tell tonight really wasn't that night. At least in my opinion, that's kind of what I'm feeling right now. But I think the Chiefs' offense could have done better. But, the main concern is with the defense, and that is by forcing pressure and stopping the run. They couldn't do either of those things, and I'm really reluctant to say that's going to get better, and that's what concerns me. So, oh man, tonight was rough, I'm not going to lie, but I thought it was a good game. Win or lose, we're all Chiefs fans at the end of the day, and this team is still going to make the playoffs. They're still going to be deep into the playoffs, and I think that, we're going to have to wait and see how this defense develops, but I think that we've seen Mahomes take a a historically bad defense to the AFC Championship game. I think that he can do the same thing this year. This offense looked like it has that capability, but the defense is going to have to get better. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to end this video. That's kind of my thoughts on this whole game. I am disappointed, but I also think that it's really early on in the season, and I'm not going to overreact too much. But I'm sure Chiefs fans are going to blow this out of proportion. I'm sure the media is going to be like, oh, the Chiefs have been figured out. The Chiefs have been this. The Chiefs have been that. It's the same. It's the same story every year. And guess who's in the conference championship or going to Super Bowls? That's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's been like that ever since Mahomes took over. And it's just, we're just going to have to wait and see how it pans out. But I think that any Chiefs fan that is concerned at this point in the season should have a little bit more to be concerned about regarding other teams, not the Chiefs. So, with that being said, the Kansas City Chiefs dropped this game to the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore by a final score of 36-35. The Chiefs moved to 1-1 on the 2021 NFL season. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for more of the best Chiefs content on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram for more of the latest updates on future videos, as well as instant Chiefs news right after it happens. You can also support the channel via the Patreon, as well as buying merchandise from the KC Sports Report store on Teespring. The links to all of those websites will be in the description. You just listened to the KC Sports Report, presented by Michael Darcy.